Anne Boleyn is the most famous of Henry VIII's wives, the first queen in English history to be beheaded and mother of Elizabeth I. She is a woman of intrigue to this day. Many are fascinated by her, so it will come to no surprise that after her death on the 19th of May 1536, many a legend has sprung up about her. Today we take a look at one such legend, a legend about her heart. Anne Boleyn was believed to be born at the family abode of Hever Castle in Kent, though her time in infancy before the family travelled to France was believed to have been spent between family abodes in Norfolk, Suffolk and Kent. It is in Suffolk that the setting of our legend takes place. Irberton Hall in Suffolk near Shotley was a residence Anne was said to have visited. The manor at the time was the home of a Sir Philip Calthorp and his wife Amata Calthorp née Boleyn. Amata, just for reference, is sometimes referred to as Jane or Amy, but we shall be going with Amata due to Jane, a possible mistaken identity with Amata Boleyn and her husband's mother, who was also married to a Philip Calthorp and was called Jane, and Amata being used in an official National Archives document. Amata was the sister of Anne's father Thomas, and it is possible that Anne visited her aunt. The local tradition or legend goes as follows. Anne Boleyn visited Irberton Hall regularly as a child. She fell in love with the land of Suffolk, especially the hall and its church, St. Mary the Virgin. Anne loved it so much that she expressed a wish for her heart to be at home at Irberton in life and death. That for when the time came, her heart to be removed from her body and be buried in the church of St. Mary the Virgin. Legend states her wish was granted. Now let us look more closely at this legend and its story. Firstly, the possibility of someone being able to do this. History tells us Anne Boleyn's body was collected by the ladies assigned to her and reverently wrapped in white covering before being placed in a chest before journeying to the Towers Church, St. Peter ad Vincula. These women were assigned to Anne because of their loyalty to the crown, and Anne herself having stated that it was a great unkindness in the king to set such about me as I have never loved. Interestingly enough, 2 of the 4 women assigned to the imprisoned Queen Anne were aunts of the imprisoned queen, one by marriage and one by blood, the Lady Elizabeth Boleyn née Wood and the Lady Anne Shelton née Boleyn. Now, for various reasons we won't be diving into today, Anne's aunts had animosity, or likely had animosity, with Anne. Although with the sudden sharp turn of the downfall of the Boleyns, it could also have been done to save themselves from the king's wrath, and loyalty to the crown proved the only way to maintain their survival. Even so, no matter the hostilities, if there were any, it is entirely possible that either aunt felt obligated to fulfil Anne's wish, should it have been true. But where would they have found the chance? Now I'm sure you're all thinking that they wouldn't have. I too also thought that when I first heard the legend, as Anne's heart would have needed to have been removed between the time of her death and her burial, and she was taken to the chapel of St. Vincula straight away. So it seems impossible. However, that is not true. Anne was executed at 9 o'clock on the 19th of May. Yet we know from various sources that Anne was buried the same day at afternoon, and that it had gone noon, so Mass could not be celebrated and a simple blessing was done over the chest before it was interred. That gives 3 hours of delay in which theoretically a heart could have been removed. The next part in the legend is who took the heart and buried it in the church. The answer, most given, is Philip Parker. A discrepancy. The legend has Sir Philip Parker as Anne's uncle, which we know is incorrect. As legends are done via oral tradition, I believe, personally, this is a similar case of mistaken identity. Sir Philip Parker was the owner of Irwitton Hall in the Elizabethan era, and as such has a large monument in the small church. As someone who has been to the church, you find it quite close to the door of the entrance, and it is grand in comparison to some of the other monuments. So it is very likely that people are very familiar with the name Sir Philip Parker. So if someone was to forget the surname of Calthorp, it is likely that Parker may have been slotted into place through his church monument and his first name. Philip Parker being related to Anne is in fact only done through marriage, as a cousin, having married Elizabeth Calthorp, the only child of Philip Calthorp and Martha Calthorp née Boleyn. If it was an uncle, it would have still likely been Calthorp, as Sir Philip Calthorp died in 1549 and was the current owner at the hall at the time of Anne Boleyn's death. The legend that Anne's heart was buried at the church of St Mary the Virgin at Irwitton, Suffolk, by her uncle Philip, remained hearsay until some 300 years later in the 1800s. A man named Joseph Amner worked for Irwitton Parish Church as a sacristan, and as such was involved when the church underwent repairs. He is reported to have said the following about the repairs and its findings. I was in the church with stonemasons and carpenters helping to finish up a job that was taking place in 1836, where the architect there was given orders to make the south wall good once more. The south wall in the chapel had begun to bulge in the past few years. The masons set to work, and very soon they came across a leadened box, covered in lime and dust. The men were ordered to open the box. Inside they found nothing but a small amount of black dust within it. Unsure of what it was, the box was soldered up and placed on a coffin within the vault of the Lady Chapel. If the vault was opened again, I could at once find it. When directly in relation to the legend of Anne's heart, Joseph went further to say the following: My grandfather always told my father that old men and women in the parish told him, as their own parents told them, the Queen's heart was in the church, and would be found some day or another. So once I saw the lead box, I said to them all, that's just what my grandfather told my father, and my father told me. It was the truth. There has been no record of the vault being opened again since the 1800s, so we cannot assert whether there is a lead box on top of a coffin within it. Joseph Amner died in 1874, but to many his testimony keeps the legend alive as a local tradition. There has been historians who have weighed their thoughts into the legend, such as Alison Weir, who goes on to mention the legend in her book The Lady in the Tower. Her thoughts are the following: This is highly unlikely, since heart burial had gone out of fashion in England by the end of the 14th century, while the uncle in question was in fact Sir Philip Calthorp of Irwitton, who married Anne's aunt Martha Boleyn and died in 1549. Nevertheless, the legend is commemorated in the name of the local inn, the Queen's Head. Her placement of the leaden box in her book is beneath the Cornwallis memorial slab under the organ. Though, having personally been to the church myself, I can state that the Cornwallis memorial slab is opposite the organ, and in front of the tomb of what is believed to be Sir Philip Calthorp and the 14th century Sir Bacon and his lady on the south aisle and south wall. Overall, it is an interesting legend, one that has some faults, but that could be justified in oral tradition. Overall, it is a mystery, one that actions would be needed to be taken to uncover a truth. Maybe one day we will discover whether this fascinating legend holds any reality in the fabrics of this small Suffolk church. To support this channel, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And I will see you all in the next one.